First of all, welcome. This is Unsolicited Perspectives. I'm Bruce Anthony, your host here to lead the conversation in important events and topics that are shaping today's society. Join the conversation and follow us wherever you get your audio podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch our video podcast. Rate, review, like, comment, share. Share with your friends, share with your family. Hell, you can share with your enemies. On today's episode, there was a big announcement that was made over the weekend. Joe Biden has decided not to run for re-election, so we pushed away all other episodes that we were going to do to bring you this special episode. My sister will be joining me. We're going to be talking about the historical aspect of this decision and what it means for the future. I'm going to do 2 segments, and then my sister's going to join me for the third to give her perspectives. But that's enough of the intro. Let's get to the show. So, like I said at the top, Joe Biden has decided not to run for re-election. I'm filming this on a Monday. The show will release tomorrow or Tuesday. Obviously, we found out the information Sunday. Y'all know how I feel about my Sunday fun days. Like, that's my thing. It threw me in a weird state yesterday when it was announced that he was not going to be running for re-election. Now, I have never been apologetic for the fact that I voted for him, and I am everything against former President Donald Trump. But I think that Joe Biden made the right decision. And I'll get into a little bit about that later on in the episode. But like I said, it threw me for a loop, and a lot of people were contacting me and my sister saying, hey, we want to hear what you guys have to say. Are you going to do a show about it? And it was not my intention. I had a show already planned with another interview. And I remember talking to the person that I interviewed, and that show will come out this weekend before everything popped off with Joe Biden. I talked to this individual on Friday, and I said, hey, your show will release on Tuesday, barring nothing crazy happens. Because we had just had an assassination attempt the weekend before. So I said, as long as nothing crazy happens, the show will be released. Then that news came on Sunday, and they immediately emailed me, and they were like, yeah, you called it in case something crazy happened. I was like, yeah, I actually have to address this. It can't wait until Friday. We still will talk about it on Friday, but it couldn't wait until Friday. We need to talk about it now. Okay. I'll get into how I feel about this emotionally and the future of it in the next segment. I want to talk about what Joe Biden did for this country. He literally sacrificed himself for the betterment of the country. Let me just give you guys a hypothetical. For some people that listen to the show who might be Trump supporters, and I know there are absolutely some out there that do listen to the show and are Trump supporters. Would Donald Trump do the same thing? If he was presented with information, and let's be clear, we don't know why, as of this moment, why Joe Biden decided to drop out. There's a lot of theories, a lot of speculation. I'm looking forward to his announcement, his official broadcast announcement, to get an idea of the reason why. And even still, he may say something and it may not be revealed until 20, 30 years down the road, like the true story of what happened in Oval Office. I think he made a decision at home in Delaware because he's recovering from COVID. But he gave up himself for the betterment of the country. For whatever reason, he decided to drop out. He felt that the best chance forward was Kamala, and put his full support behind her. Like I said, I'll talk about all that in the second segment, but he literally sacrificed his political career because it's over now, right? It's over for the better of the country. And for you Trump supporters out there, would Donald Trump do the same thing? Has he ever done anything that was for somebody else and not for him? Just in his political career, has he ever really done it? Or has he always benefited from something? Has he done a selfless act? In other words, has he done a selfless act? So I just posed that question to you guys, and you can give me your answers to what you think it is or isn't. This is not the first time. I saw a meme that's going around. My sister brought it up. She'll probably bring it up later on the show, where the meme was, "I'm tired of living in unprecedented times. Can we have some precedented times?" And this is not unprecedented. It's a president deciding to not run for reelection or not seek a second term. This is not new. Like, it's in our, not my lifetime, but it's in my parents' lifetime. This happened before. It's happened in grandparents' lifetime twice, right? So this is not new. This is not unprecedented. This is precedented. And it's a big deal, but it's not as big of a deal as people were making it out to be as far as the worry. Now, there's legitimate reasons to be worried about this election cycle and where it's going to take us as a country. There are legitimate reasons to be worried about that. There isn't legitimate reasons to be worried about this quote unquote precedent, which it isn't, of Biden not seeking a reelection, because like I said, it's happened before. It just in modern times, let's just say in our grandparents' times. If you are, I don't know, 80, 85, 90 years old. I have a friend who has a father who is 91, right? So it is not, it, it's very possible to have a grandparent 85, 90 years old. Harry Truman decided not to run for the second election. He took over after FDR passed away. Y'all remember FDR. I gave y'all a short spill. He's one of the most important presidents of the modern generation, right? He died during his fourth term. Harry Truman took over. And then Harry Truman ran his own campaign and then had his own term, right? So Harry Truman was not a replacement president. I mean, he was a replacement president. He was a vice president that became a president after FDR passed away, but he was also elected into that office. He got his own term. He decided not to seek reelection for several different reasons. The Korean War was a very, very unpopular war that you'll see common themes too, by the way, of these presidents deciding not to seek second terms. So Harry Truman decided that the Korean War, that it wasn't a good time to run for reelection for himself. It was a hotbed of controversy surrounding the Korean War. You had Senator McCarthy doing his McCarthy hearings for the witch hunts for communists. You had the firing of General Douglas MacArthur, which at the time was not popular. It was very, very unpopular. Later on, found out that, that he was right about that. But at the time, it was very, very unpopular mood. There were internal politics issues. Harry Truman was a Democrat. FDR was a Democrat. Southern Democrats weren't really rolling with Harry Truman. So he was having a difficult time pushing through his policies. The easiest way to equate it to something that's going on now are the infighting in the Republican Party. That small number of Republicans that has caused us to have two different speakers in the matter of a year, right? Something similar like that was going on in the Democratic Party during Harry Truman's term. So he decided, for the better of the country, it was the best thing for him to do was to not go for a second term because of the division in the country. Like I said, he wasn't the only one. My favorite president, Lyndon Baines Johnson, decided not to run for a second term. He was another person that took over after a president was killed. John Kennedy was assassinated, and my man LBJ took over. He finished up Kennedy's term and ran again. He was elected, but he decided not to run for a second term that would have been his term, his second elected term, for various different reasons. And you'll find some common similarities here. Instead of the Korean War, which was Harry Truman, it was the Vietnam War for Lyndon Baines Johnson. I told you guys last week, as I ran down the history of the presidents, that's his blemish, right? Like he really escalated our involvement in the Vietnam War. It didn't start it. Kennedy actually did that, but he definitely escalated it. And every president after that escalated it until finally Nixon had to give in, because we were not going to win that war, the Vietnam War, which technically isn't a war because wars have to be designated by Congress. That's the reason why they always called it the Vietnam conflict. But don't tell that to the people that lost their lives. That was a war. Okay. And no president wanted to be the first US president to lose a war. That's part of Truman's trouble as well, because we weren't doing so good in that Korean War. So yes, and there were other divisions. There are other similarities between Harry Truman and LBJ. Infighting within the party. The Democrats, y'all, were fighting again. But the Democrats this time were fighting because of Johnson's policies. Okay, so what were the policies that created division in America? Because during LBJ's terms where he was president, people said that that was the greatest time of division in this country. You got the Vietnam War, you had the Civil Rights Movement, you could just have burnings and firings and killings and all over the place, right? Like America is on fire, kind of similar to what it is right now, right? And you had Southern Democrats who were completely opposed to the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act. So as great of a politician as LBJ was, and he used all his political marvel to actually get those legislations passed, it cost him his political career because you had certain segments in the Democratic Party who were anti-war, like Eugene McCarthy, who was running against Johnson during his second term and gave him a really good challenge during his primaries. And then you had John's little brother, Robert, who was saying, hey, I'm going to run against you because of the conflict that was going on within the party because of Southern Democrats leaving because LBJ was fighting for human rights, right? And the war that was going on in Vietnam, he was getting pulled from all sides. So he decided to pull out and not run for re-election, and he called for unity in the country. The same thing that Harry Truman did. He saw that there was divisions happening, and he wanted to call for unity in the country to bring everybody together. And when I look at the similarities of each time these presidents decided not to run for re-election, I can't help but notice what's going on right now. We're not in a war, but directly, but we have these wars that we are associated with, whether it's Ukraine or if it's Israel or Gaza, right? We are associated, we are pulled into that, and it's caused division in this country. That's number one. There's infighting within the parties. Actually, this is the rare time the Democrats are all on board. I guess we'll see with the nomination process, but Democrats have pretty much been on board, except for the fact that there were a lot of Democrats after the debates that were calling for Biden to step down. He didn't give a great performance. I didn't watch all the debates. I've only seen clips, but I knew the fact that what escapes a lot of people about President Joe Biden is he has a speech impediment. And as somebody who has a speech impediment, and I do tend to talk relatively fast, but I also stumble over my words a lot. And this is something in speaking, and I took speech classes in college. This is something that I've worked on. If you have a speech impediment, if you have a stutter, like we both do, I'm going to assume that his was way worse than mine. But we had those things. When your mind is running a mile a minute and you have to slow down to make sure that you pronounce or enunciate words correctly, it can look like you got a glitch. So on top of the fact that he's old, because let's not push that aside. He's old as hell. He also has a speech impediment. So when they were saying that there was a glitch in the matrix or that his computer was buffering, it really just is the fact that he's older. His mind is still sharp. He just has a hard time trying to get out words because of the speech impediment. That's a cause of it, but it didn't look good. it look bad. And the optics of the presidency is extremely important. I'm putting a friend on blast. I'm not going to say their name. They don't pay attention to policy. They pay attention to the aesthetics of the person, the presentation, which is what a lot of people do. A lot of people are charmed by words and presentation and not necessarily listening to what those words mean. And that's the reason why a lot of people are charmed by Donald Trump. He is charismatic, whether you like him or not. He's charismatic and he's funny. You got to give him his credit for those things. He's the greatest con man that this country has ever known. But Joe just doesn't have that thing where he used to because he's older and it fades for all of us. I'm not as smooth as I used to be in my younger years. Let me tell y'all something, ladies and gentlemen. There was a time out there where I had to rap to the women that I could just, I'm stumbling over my words right now trying to describe how smooth I used to be. I'm not smooth no more. I'm older, a little corny. My mind is still sharp, but the connection from my mind to get the words out takes a little bit longer. My reflexes aren't as fast. That's what happens when you get older. And so he decided to step away. And like I said, there are similarities. We're not in a direct war. There are wars that are surrounding us. There was some infighting in the party about him running for reelection after the debate. And there's major division in the country. The division in the country is not caused by him. And if you really look at the history of the two previous presidents that have done this, LBJ and Harry Truman, the divisions weren't caused by them. The divisions during Johnson's presidency was caused by Southern Democrats or racist whites who did not want to see progress, who did not want to see Black people having the right to vote, having the right to stay in whatever hotels they wanted to stay in, sit in whatever bus seat that they wanted to sit in, go to whatever restaurant that they want to go in. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. This is what these people were fighting against. Human decency. This is what they were fighting against. Okay. So it wasn't Johnson that was creating division. It was the people that were against everybody having equality that was actually creating division. It wasn't Newman that was actually creating division. It were people like McCarthy who is creating hysteria of this Red Scare, which was this movement in the US to say that there were communists all over the place, right? It wasn't the presidents. The presidents just fell a victim to the divisions that were created by other people. The division that's been created now in this country is from Donald Trump. It's basically saying us against them, basically telling them to go fight like hell. They were literally chanting, fight, fight, fight. Well, guess what? You're about to have a real fight on your hands now, because now your opposing side is not older. She's younger. She's a lawyer. And she's coming at you. And I'm going to get in my whole feelings around all of that next. But more importantly, I have to stress it over and over and over again. This is not unprecedented times. This sort of thing just kind of happens every 30, 40 years. Okay, so my emotions when I read this news, I was all planned, like I said, to enjoy my Sunday fun day. I'd had a long Saturday where I was hanging out with my bestie and my goddaughter, having brunch, a continued celebration of my birthday. It's a good time. Went down to this seafood spot that was a little hood, but the food was good and the atmosphere was all right. So I enjoyed myself on Saturday. Got my new Xbox. Real happy about that. Got college football. Saturday was a good day. And though I was hungover on Saturday, I got up and did some work, contacted a couple of people, talked to a couple of people, and was just popped a bottle of champagne, because I always have champagne on my Sunday fun day, and was making my breakfast. And I was real excited for my breakfast. I was going to make these. It was cracked seasoning bacon, right? With eggs, sandwich. So it was a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, but the seasonings was real tight. You got to put the Old Bay in the eggs. Like I had done it up right. And then with some tater tots on the side. And I was going to sit up there and watch the third movie of the third part, which is another single standalone movie of this Justice League Infinite on Crisis Earth. It's been a 3-part series, and I was going to watch the third and final part. I had my Sunday late morning, afternoon planned. This comes across my screen. And my initial feeling was I saw it on Instagram. I saw it was a post from Joe Biden. And let's just be clear. I've been getting emails and seeing posts from Joe Biden a lot. I was like, bro, you got my support. You ain't getting no more of my money, but you got my support. What am I reading now? And it was kind of like, I'm reading the statement and I'm like, where are you going with this? And then finally, around the third paragraph, he says, this is the reason why I'm not running for reelection. And I say, oh shit, he's doing it. He's taking himself out of the race. I was shocked. I was sad for him. I was nervous. I was excited. I was all of those things. So much so that I did watch the movie. I turned off my phone and I watched the movie. I tried to enjoy the movie, but my mind was still racing. I turned on my phone and there's all these alerts, these DMs, these emails. We want to hear what you and your sister have to say about this. And I couldn't wait until Friday. So we had to do the show now. And my initial gut reaction was, okay, well, who's going to be the nominee? And this is before Joe Biden decided to back Vice President Harris. I said, well, it can't be her. And listen to me, America, and places that not in America, because people all over the world are listening to us, which is just crazy to me. The reason why I was like, well, she can't be the nominee is because in that moment, I felt that there was no way in hell that America was going to elect a Black woman as president of the United States. Just wasn't going to happen, right? That was my initial gut feeling. And the reason isn't because I don't think that she can do the job. I think actually she would be very good at the job. It's just America is racist. And I know people are like, say, America's not racist. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have friends that were going to vote for Joe Biden, vote for Joe Biden, that are all of a sudden showing apprehension about voting for VP Harris, ask them why. I asked a person earlier today why that was, why they could vote for Joe Biden and why not her. This is a woman that told me, I don't know, she she seems phony and fake. I'm like, where are you getting that from? I don't know. It's just a feeling. A feeling? So you haven't really followed her career at all. Do you know anything about any of her policies or anything that she's done as vice president? No, not really. I said, I think you should do that before getting an opinion about somebody who's going to be more than likely the nominee for president. You're right. I know I'm right. Like, I wouldn't be saying it if I didn't know that I'm right. I know that I'm right. The idea that we're going to judge people off of presentation and not their policies is ignorant. That's the easiest, nicest way that I could say it, is ignorant. But this country is ignorant. But by and large, us as a whole human race, we're pretty damn stupid. But as Americans, wholly ignorant. As a group, there are people obviously that are not. I don't consider myself ignorant. I consider myself ignorant to certain things that I try to go learn about before I have an opinion about it. My opinion, my initial opinion of the reason why I did not believe that she would be president is they wouldn't even elect a white woman. Think about that. They wouldn't even elect a white woman in the totem pole of acceptable, right? White male is at the top. It is the standard bearer of which all of America is pretty much judged on. They are the ones that have always been the deciders. And this whole backlash of what America is right now, this division, is because how dare America elect a Black president in Barack Obama, which, by the way, Barack Obama is America because, yes, he is absolutely the first Black president. He's also the first mixed president. Do people forget that his mother is white? He's Black and white. He is America. You wanted to be fixated on the fact that he was only Black. Okay. Yeah, we took our side. You could have took your side. He literally could have been for all of us. And then when people say, well, I hated Obama. What did you hate about him? Did he actually try to give everybody health care? Did he actually try to make everybody safer? No, that's not what you didn't like about him. You didn't like the fact that there was a Black man at the highest position in America. And you just don't want to admit it to yourself. You try to find excuses because you don't want to look inward and realize that the reason why you felt a certain way was not based on merit or things that he's done. It was based on the way that he looked. Okay. And there's going to be a lot of people that were going to vote for Joe Biden that are not going to vote for VP Harris. I get it. And it's because not only is she a woman, but she's a Black woman. And like I said, this country wouldn't even elect a white woman who was completely qualified, way more qualified than the entertainer that they elected instead. Think about that. A brilliant woman. Let's start with the top. If you do not believe or agree with Hillary Clinton's policies, here's some things that you cannot argue against. She was a politician that had been Secretary of State and a senator. Okay? Important positions, both of them. Secretary of State is not something that you just throw at anybody as a political favor. It is sometimes the second most important position in America. Okay? Extremely educated. I mean, brilliant. Bill, who was twice elected, has always said Hillary was smarter than him. But we should have known the country's backlash when Bill Clinton tried to give Hillary during his first term a run at healthcare to create universal healthcare. Universal healthcare has been a thing that's been worked on since I was a kid. All my life, pretty much, okay, is healthcare. And those white men were in a fury that a woman would be in charge of trying to create a universal healthcare system. This was in 92, 93, 94, around that time. And here we are, we fast forward to 2016, over 20 years later. You think America would have gotten better because we just elected a Black man. But like I said in that totem pole, it's white man, then Black man. Actually, nowadays, it could be white man, Asian man, Jewish. It could, well, no. Barack Obama beat everybody out. So I guess it's white man, then Black man. Most importantly, man. Okay? I'm not talking about what I believe. I'm telling you what the American structures, systems deem as people most important. It's men first, then women. You know where Black women fall in that? Towards the bottom, towards the absolute bottom. So my initial reaction was I did not think VP Harris had a chance. And we'll get into more about that with my sister. But as I said, I had very mixed emotions when I got the initial response, when I got the initial report. As the day wore on, I said, this is a hopeful situation. This is not the end of the world. I was talking to my sister yesterday, and we'll probably get into this deeper in the next segment. But sometimes bad stuff needs to happen to wake people up. Let me give y'all a prime example. In a movie that I take a lot of life lessons from. I know this is crazy. I take life lessons from a movie, but you can really take a lot of life lessons from art. Okay. And that's what movie is, art. Clemenza in the movie The Godfather was talking to Michael Corleone. Michael Corleone was in the process of getting ready to shoot the police captain and the guy, the drug dealer Soloso, who had set his father up and to have him killed. Okay. And they knew Clemenza was a capo regime, a captain in the Corleone crime family, somebody very trusted. And they knew that the other families in New York were going to go against the Corleones for killing not only this drug dealer, but also a police captain. They were going to get it from the five families. They were going to get it from law enforcement. It was going to be really bad. Mike asked Clemenza how bad is it going to get. Clemenza says it's going to get real bad. It's going to be real tough. But then he says something that I always took a life lessons from. He says, sometimes these things got to happen. Sometimes everybody needs to get out all the bad blood and let it all out in order to heal. It's kind of like life, right? If you keep your anger and your hurt bottled up and you don't ever confront it, it's going to eat you up inside. Sometimes that's the reason why they have these new like rage rooms for people to just let out and let loose, because sometimes the emotions that you have are so bottled up and are so overwhelming that you got to scream or yell or smash stuff. I'm talking about not really doing the things like happened on January 6th, right? That's not what I'm talking about. But what I am talking about is say he is elected for a second term. I'm talking about former President Donald Trump. And say they try to implement Project 2025. Just like my friend who does not pay attention to policy, the policies that are being implemented in this Project 2025, okay, in this project, and what they want to do during Trump's second presidency should wake some people up because it's going to directly affect them. Did anybody notice that as soon as the Supreme Court basically overturned Roe v. Wade, that anytime they put abortion on any type of ballot to be voted on, that no matter what state it was, people still voted to have it? And it's because, and there were going to be people who voted for politicians that were pro-life and not pro-choice. But maybe in their own life, they are pro-choice, or maybe they don't feel like that they should have the right to dictate to anybody else what they should do with their life. And so overwhelmingly, people have voted for pro-choice, when maybe they would have voted for a politician that's pro-life, because people aren't paying attention to the politicians' true policies, not what they say they're going to do, what they actually propose and do. Maybe this will wake some people up, because there's a lot of people out here sleepwalking through life. And it's problematic. I do not believe in voter suppression at all. However, you might have to take a little test in order to get your vote, because a lot of people out here are voting for, I like the way they look, or they speak well, I like their personality, or they make me laugh. And these are not the type of qualifications or characteristics that we should be electing people that affect our lives, that are making decisions that affect our lives on. I don't care if they dress nice or they crack jokes. I care about, can you get things done? Lyndon Baines Johnson was not a handsome man. Not at all. He was a folksy speaker, wasn't eloquent, really. There was nothing aesthetically pleasing about him, as opposed to his running mate, Kennedy, who was extremely charismatic and for the time good looking, and people, he popped off the screen. LBJ got way more done than John Kennedy could have ever got done, because he was a career politician who knew how Washington worked. And he got things done that mattered. Joe Biden got things done that mattered. He was a career politician who understood how Washington works. And you understand that you don't get everything that you want. This isn't a 100% win or lose game type of situation. Life is about compromises. And in order to do the right thing, sometimes you have to make compromises in overall policy. He may not like it, but if the end result is actually helping people and getting things done, that's who you want in office. VP Harris has got the nomination. And slowly but surely last night and throughout the day today, I've grown more hopeful that it's not doom and gloom. Do I think she will win? I don't believe in America like that. America has let me down so much. America is an abusive ex-girlfriend that every now and then, or ex, that every now and then you think they've changed. They've changed. And then they come back doing the same shit all over again. The division during Johnson's time, they were fighting to make sure Blacks weren't being treated equal. What are Republicans doing right now? They are fighting to make sure that Black and brown aren't treated equal, and that the LGBTQ plus community is nowhere near close to being treated equal. They don't even want them to exist. Well, they probably didn't want Black people to exist back in the 60s except for work or anything else. But they don't want the LGBTQ people to even exist. We got wars surrounding us, and there's division. I understand the parallels, the reason why Joe Biden stepped down. And I will be really interested for his reasonings that he gives to America why he stepped down. I am hopeful for VP Harris and what she can accomplish. At the same time, if Trump is reelected, it's going to be a wake-up call that needs to also happen. People need to wake up and realize what's going on in this world. Realize things ain't always just about you, and have some love and respect for your fellow human beings, because people are out here literally just fighting to exist. That's what we're dealing with right now. And I'm telling you, just like those people that fought for segregation, that are looked at now, history does not treat kindly. The people that are against all the good things that Joe Biden and the Democratic Party are trying to do, which is just let people be themselves. That's all it is. Leave people alone and let them be themselves. Those people that are fighting against that, history is not going to look favorably on you. And those people that are supporting former President Trump, I assure you, history is not going to look well on you. And you're going to have to wear that and eat that. And when your children and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren ask you what you did during this time of tumultuous activity, you're going to have to own up for the fact that you were a part of the problem and not part of the solution. All right, y'all asked for it. Here's my sister. My sister's joined the show for second week in a row, joining the show to talk about crazy political stuff.
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last time it was an assassination attempt. Now it's Joey Beans deciding to step aside. So, Jay, we talked a little bit yesterday, but the audience obviously is not privy to our conversation. And a lot of people were like, I want to hear what y'all got to say. So,
yeah,
what do you have to say about everything that happened? Let's start with him announcing. What was your initial feelings for that?
Yeah, so my feelings have evolved in these 24 hours since that announcement. So initially I was like, I was on the fence because part of me was also feeling like he might not be up to it.
Mm-hmm.
That President Biden might not be up to it. Not just given his age, because he's only 3 years older than Donald Trump, but we talked about this yesterday. He seemed a little bit older these days. Like he just seems, and usually President Biden is just very quick, like, and we've seen the decline.
Now, I did say part of that is a speech impediment. Part of it.
True,
But he is also getting older, yes.
but it's also he's getting older.
He's
Like
getting older.
yeah. So initially I was kind of on the fence, like, yeah, I had a little bit of feeling that maybe he should also think about dropping out, but also it was kind of like end of an era kind of thing. Like it was a little bittersweet to me. So my initial feeling was we might as well just prepare ourselves for a Trump presidency. That was my initial feeling. I do not feel that way today. I will tell everybody why.
Okay, go for it.
Yesterday, I don't know how much of the world is privy to this, but I'm privy to this because I'm a Black woman in America. There was a call yesterday that got up to 44,000 Black women responding to VP Harris being the presumptive presidential nominee now, getting the endorsement of President Biden to be the presumptive nominee. And they raised $1.5 million in that call in about 3 hours. Yesterday, according to New York Times reporting, Harris raised $81 million in her first 24 hours as a candidate. The war chest she inherited from Biden was $90 million. So she almost made the entire current presidential war chest in 24 hours.
Wow.
My timeline is flooded with Black folks, Asian folks, suburban white women.
Really?
Throwing their support behind VP Harris. And, you know, my initial thoughts of like, she can't win. That's a trauma response that I need to unlearn. And I apologize for those initial feelings. I couldn't help it because I'm in America. This is America. Okay. Like she is a Black woman. Like that is, and this is America. And, but you know, to combat the Trump train, I think she is an excellent candidate to do that. And that is because of Trump's inherent fear of Black women.
Okay, now where is this coming from?
This is coming from, I don't know if you remember his interactions with, was it Gwen Ifill?
I don't know.
I can't remember, but I know that his press room when he was in the White House had nary a Black woman in it by design. Okay. He's never taken an interview with a Black woman by design. And Fox's response to her being the new presumptive nominee was to make fun of the fact that she laughs a lot, which is like, okay.
Okay.
People are ridiculous, so she laughs.
That's a Black response.
Yes.
It is laugh or cuss you out.
Right. Like they had no answer to Kamala Harris. They had no answer. And I also think now this is fully a rumor. I don't know if this is true, but
Reckless
if it is,
speculations.
yes, if it is, it's extremely funny that that President Biden waited till after the RNC convention, where they spent the entire convention attacking him, spent so much time, effort, and energy into rallying around, we're gonna defeat Biden, to then drop out and say, oh, just kidding, you're going up against Kamala Harris.
That's rumor,
And they
ladies and
have,
gentlemen.
that's
That's a
rumor.
J rumor.
That's a J
I don't believe
rumor.
that that's
But
true.
the timing is just very interesting. I mean, it made the RNC convention a moot point.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was already a moot point when you got Amber Rose and
for
Hulk
us.
Hogan. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
when you got Amber Rose and Hulk Hogan,
it was already
yeah,
not
no, it was
anything.
people was falling asleep during Trump's speech. His
Trump was
own
falling.
super supporters.
Trump was falling asleep during Trump's speech.
I don't think not during his speech, but not during
He
his speech.
falls asleep.
He be falling asleep because he's 70, 78 years old. I mean, that's what you want to do. It was past his bedtime.
That is true. That is true. I think if she chooses the right VP, and a lot of people are, throwing names out there. You could go on any news source and they got their own list of people. But if she chooses the right person and she gets herself out there, they've been I feel like the Biden campaign has been holding her back a little bit. As far as the VP position is a secondary position. Like, you're secondary to the president. Yeah. But I feel like she needs to do more public appearances that are like prime time. Like, she needs to do. No choice now. She got to get out there and let people see who she is and her personality. She's also an AKA, so now he's got to go up against the Divine Nine. Like, if you think they're not going to organize,
yes.
If you think they're not going to rally and organize, are you kidding me? Please. And it will be so classy. It'll be strings of pearls and pink and green, and they're going to drag. They're going to drag I mean, I am filled with a lot of hope, optimism, and honestly excitement from the response that I'm seeing to her, and it's being backed up with the dollar bills, y'all. It's not just a couple people in my echo chamber of, left liberal social media, right?
Right.
It's being backed up. People are backing it up with their dollars. I heard that she got it, Nancy Pelosi's endorsement, for whatever that means. But
when was that?
When was that? Let me see.
Because last I checked, when I was filming,
she never really endorsed her ever. Even as VP, she was like, eh. But no, it says right here, Nancy Pelosi endorses Harris with immense pride, praises Biden's wisdom.
Okay, so and where's this? Where can we credit this source?
This is ABC News.
Okay, if it's ABC News, that is a credible source, ladies and gentlemen. And notice what it was. ABC News.
Yes.
ABC News, NBC News, CBS News. You could trust those sources.
Yes, it's also on NBC News, and it's being reported. So that was today, and I think that she needed that endorsement. Mm-hmm. She needs kind of the endorsement of that old guard, and I think it was smart on Nancy Pelosi's part, because 24 hours, 81 million.
Right. There's a lot of people that they say would have challenged her that have already backed her.
Yeah.
Gwen out of Michigan, Pete.
Yeah.
Oh, Pete backed her. It's a lot of people, Gavin Newsom, all of the people that they were like, oh, these could be challengers. Now, granted, another reason why
they could be vying for the VP spot.
They could be vying for the VP spot. And also, it is really tough to put together a political campaign for president with 3 months left, when you were never on the ticket in the first place. That. So
to raise the money to do it. Yeah.
So a lot of them are backing out because they're like, she can't really win. And it's funny because the audience don't know when we film this, but I already filmed my part of this episode earlier, and we are literally mirroring some of the same things, because we talked yesterday, but we haven't really, really talk today. And yesterday on the After Hours Uncensored that released yesterday,
Mhm.
um, you can hear, I was like, hey, she ain't got a chance as a black woman. And you're right. I never thought of that as looking at it as a trauma response. Why couldn't she? I didn't think Barack Obama had a chance in the beginning. And it was 2008. And I was like, ain't no way in hell they're about to elect a black man. And they did. And they did. So,
Twice, okay?
yes, they did.
And we say there's no way a black woman could be president, but she's vice president.
Well, that's because it was a white man at the top of the ticket now.
Is it? I mean, there could have been people who said, "I will vote. I would love to vote for Biden, but I can't see a black woman VP."
Mm.
That's also possible. Like she became a senator. She became vice president. Why can't she become president?
You're right.
Why can't we can't let our cynicism about this country
Yeah.
keep us from believing that, you know, more is possible for us. We can't, I mean, because if people kept this attitude during the civil rights movement,
You're right.
we ain't never gonna, you know, or we ain't never gonna get our civil rights. You know,
You're
we're
right.
never gonna get if people kept that attitude of it can't happen in America, just think of all the things that wouldn't have happened in America, especially for people of color,
You're right.
especially for black people. So with that being said, she has my endorsement. That don't mean diddly jack, but she's got it. And I'm gonna do what I do for every election is I'm gonna be out there volunteering and trying to get the vote out and making sure the polls are safe and all of those things. So you gonna see me on the streets. But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna put a bumper sticker on my car because I just don't believe in bumper stickers. I think they're ugly. But I will definitely get a t-shirt.
Right, got to get them t-shirts. There was
Oh,
there was somebody, it was on Instagram, but I'm here in DC, and there was somebody on the metro this morning already with a Harris 2024 shirt. And the person in the meme was like, "How you great? Where did y'all have an instant press at home or something? How did you get that shirt already?"
they might have a t-shirt press at home.
They might. They might.
They might be like, I make t-shirts on the side. Let me get this one out. Bam.
Or a
24.
t-shirt company might have just been like, soon as that information was announced yesterday, or yes, because it was yesterday when we got that
Yeah.
information. It was early in the day. It was like
Yeah.
1 or 1:30. You can
Yeah.
press up some shirts, be like, oh,
You can
look,
get
this is what we
shirts.
you press up some shirts and have them ready for that night.
Yeah. So once she picks her vice president, then I'm sure we'll get shirts because it'll be Harris such and such 2024.
She
So I'm
probably
sure.
won't do that until the convention.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so too.
Yeah,
I
because
think so.
everybody's got to do some backdoor political willing and dealing, and she might have a little bit of trouble getting the VP that she wants, because somebody might not want to be associated with a ticket that they don't think can win. We're becoming more optimistic,
Yes.
but we got to wait to see how these polls come in, because I posed this in my portion of the show earlier, that there are going to be people that were going to vote for Joe Biden that are going to be apprehensive about voting for her. I've already heard from some of them. So that could be a thing.
But I think it's just because they don't know her. They don't know her record. As a prosecutor, as attorney general, as a senator. And I mean, I'm going back through her old film and I can't believe I forgot the senator I'm speaking from the vice presidential debate. I
Yeah.
can't believe I forgot how tough she was with Brett Kavanaugh when he was trying to get confirmed for the Supreme Court. I can't believe I forgot. Like, she don't play no games. Like, she doesn't play. She's extremely smart, extremely tough. I think if, you know, J.D. Vance never accepted the invitation to debate her. Now it's too late. I don't know if Trump is going to accept an
He
invitation to
he already
debate her.
backed out. They were supposed to be a presidential debate in September. He's already backed out of it.
Because his inherent fear of what?
Black
Black
women.
women. Because you got to tread very lightly, because you don't want to end up in misogynoir territory where people are like, you being sexist and racist, bro. You know, you got to be very careful how you speak to her.
Uh-huh.
But not only that, if he thinks he's going to be able to cut her off, now they cut his mic, so he's not able to overtalk people anymore. But if he thought he was going to be able to do the old okie dokie shuffle where other people aren't as quick as he is
Not the okie dokie shuffle.
in responding to some of the ridiculous things that he says, he's got another thing coming. This is a Howard University educated sister representing the Black and AAPI community, okay?
There we go.
Period. So I slept on it, and I said, shame on me for my initial reaction being, Black women can't win.
Yeah. I never thought of it like that. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who didn't realize that could just been a trauma response. But look, there's always got to be a first time.
Yeah, there's got to be a first time for everything. And the fact of the matter is, Barack Obama won the popular vote twice. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote.
Yep.
So if a Black man can win the popular vote and a white woman can win the popular vote, I don't see why a Black woman can't.
You're right. So I don't know. I'm even more hopeful now after this conversation than I was at the beginning of filming my part of the episode. So people are going to see that my tone has changed throughout this episode. But
not saying it's not an uphill battle, and not saying that she doesn't have a lot of work to do. I mean, girlfriend needs to be everywhere so that she can convince people and earn their support. And I think that she can do that. Honestly, if you look at it, she has been the best in the Biden administration on communicating their message, specifically around abortion and women's reproductive rights, things like that, like rule of law. Obviously, she was a prosecutor and attorney general.
Right.
And you're talking about a prosecutor and attorney general up against a convicted felon.
True.
She's young, she's got the energy, and she is competent, beyond competent. She's overqualified, in my opinion, as
most Black women are.
As we typically are. So she just has to get out there and let the people get to know her.
Yeah.
She just got to work on her branding. Somebody put a meme up that she need to get box braids because this is real. This is serious.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't either. But it's just like, or she gonna get a mean silk press to prepare for this. She gonna have the meanest silk press out there. Like, it's serious now. It's go time. Okay.
Yeah.
Them blazers are gonna be blazering.
I didn't know. I thought it was 50 million. You told me it's 31 more million than the 50 that I thought, which was already over half of what was in the war chest. That's incredible. Now we just need one endorsement, and he don't need to slow walk this one. Barack Obama, I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Time to step up again and give that endorsement. Because you be real hesitant about that stuff all the time. Be playing the background, be like, I'm going to see how things play out. No. Step up.
Yeah.
Do that endorsement, because then that's going to give the full push.
And I will also like to say, whoever the team is that is working and planning the DNC, y'all got to get back to the drawing board immediately. The DNC convention needs to be young. It needs to be activated. It needs to be exciting. We need to have young, influential people speaking. Like, it needs to be completely revamped, because we have new I keep saying young, but baby, new young blood out
Yeah.
there that can really, really, I think, energize our party. So like we're gonna have to go back. It's not gonna be the old man show now. It's you
Yeah.
know, y'all better be working on that music to get the music cleared. Figure out what her theme song is. Okay. I'm leaning towards Trina if she
No,
likes to go old school.
no Trina.
Perhaps Megan the Stallion.
No,
Honestly,
none of
if
that.
she came out to Cardi B, like, let me
No,
just,
no,
yeah.
no.
I mean, I didn't say
You still
sexy
forget
red,
she's
like, my
57.
God.
She's 57 years old. Okay, so I mean,
So,
like
so is
she's
Michelle
you.
the Obama, and she still be coming out there, pop lock and dropping it, okay?
Maybe
Please.
some Beyonce. So Beyonce is
Beyonce, I can see that. I can see
okay.
that.
Some
Yes.
Beyonce.
Who run the world, girl? I can see that. I'm excited about that. Yes, yes, yes. So,
Okay, all right.
yeah,
So hopeful. I like that. I like
yes,
that.
I am
Yeah, I
very
like.
hopeful and excited and energized and ready to get activated. And you all should too. This is a good thing. It didn't feel like it at first. At first, it felt like, okay, we just imploded. What
Right.
happened? What's going on? Because it was very sudden.
They must have done something. I assume so that they said, okay, this is coming, but we need to have unity within the party. And there has
Mhm.
been that's part of the reason why there's been today is more hopeful than yesterday because we immediately see everybody say, all right, this is our person. We centering around this person.
Yeah.
And I'm liking it. I'm liking
Yeah, everybody's coming together, and it's even people. I get it. If you're on the fence, you're apprehensive. You don't know her. You don't know what she's about. Let me tell you something. She's not Donald Trump. That's number one. That's a
Mhm.
selling point. She does not have any felonies on her record. That's also a selling point. She is not a criminal. That is a selling point. Let me see. What else? What else? What else? Oh, yeah. She won't take away your rights as a woman. She's like, if you don't want a federal ban on abortion, vote us.
Right.
Okay. So, like, check out her platform, do your research,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
get active. Somebody is partying outside my house. I don't know who it is,
Oh.
but there's
Well,
some loud music going on outside. I don't
with
know.
people
Jamming.
excited. People are excited.
People are jamming. Hey,
But on that note, I want to thank you for joining, giving us your thoughts and everything. And most important thing is people learn the policies and stop voting on politicians just because you like the way they speak or they present well. Not to say that she doesn't do both of those things, but I already heard somebody say, well, she seems phony. And I was like, well, what do you know about her policies? I don't. And then the next thing the person said, well, what is their sign? I said, yo, these are not the things that we
yeah.
that we base the president on. Oh, she's a Libra. I can't vote for a Libra. They're whatever signs. I was like, you know what? Get off my phone. I'm done talking
First
to
of
you.
all, a Libra, the scales of justice, like it's so on point.
Mhm.
Don't be ridiculous.
Yeah, people out there be ridiculous, but don't be ridiculous. I like that.
Yeah.
Don't be ridiculous. And on that
And
note, okay, and vote. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And on that note, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Until next time, as always, I'll holla. Whew, that was a hell of a show. Thank you for rocking with us here on Unsolicited Perspectives with Bruce Anthony. Now, before you go, don't forget to follow, subscribe, like, comment, and share our podcast wherever you're listening or watching it to it. Pass it along to your friends. If you enjoy it, that means the people that you rock will enjoy it also. So share the wealth, share the knowledge, share the noise. And for all those people that say, well, I don't have a YouTube. If you have a Gmail account, you have a YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can actually watch our video podcast. But the real party is on our Patreon page, After Hours Uncensored and Talking Straight-ish. After Hours Uncensored is another show with my sister. And once again, the key word there is uncensored. Those are exclusively on our Patreon page. Jump onto our website at unsolicitedperspectives.com for all things us. That's where you can get all of our audio, video, our blogs, and even buy our merch. And if you're really feeling genuine and want to help us out, you can donate on our donations page. Donations go strictly to improving our software and hardware so we can keep giving you guys good content that you can clearly listen to and that you can clearly see. So any donation would be appreciative. Most importantly, I want to say thank you for listening and watching and supporting us. And I'll catch you next time. Audi 5000. Peace.